everybody on TikTok? So this is my friend. This is a little update about him that was hung in North Carolina from a tree. He was, they said there was a black stool next to him, but he was high up in the tree. That don't make sense. Like, he's 300 pounds. That little stool would have broke or fell into the ground, and he was hung up in the tree. It don't make sense, but they didn't take fingerprints. They're not even trying to give anything about the autopsy. Everything's weird. So thank you for everybody that's putting this story out there, reposting, commenting. It's crazy. And rest in peace to Javon McGee, because there's multiple situations that happen. And this isn't the only one. But hopefully everybody will come together and catch whoever the fuck doing this. But yeah, I'm out. And his mother is getting a lawyer and stuff and trying to get stuff situated, but shit is too much. But if you can, please go to his GoFundMe page, linked in the bio. Please donate something so we can get his body home.
So last year, the same thing happened to 21-year-old Javon McGee, just like what happened to Mario Kaiser Jr. in his case. He was found in Chicago. Ironically, these two tragedies only happened 2 hours apart, which is very strange. Javon McGee was found dead in Henderson, North Carolina, and Mario Kaiser Jr. was found dead in Charlotte, North Carolina. The autopsy report for Javon McGee was released 8 months later, according to ABC 11 article published on May the 7th, 2025 in Raleigh, North Carolina. The state medical examiner ruled McGee's death a suicide. McGee's death was discovered on September the 11th, 2024 in a wooded area in Vance County. Sheriff Curtis Bram described McGee as having his back against a tree with a rope wrapped around his neck. Bram stated that there was no evidence of foul play and said earlier information pointed to suicide. However, many people question how this ruling was made and why so little time had passed between Javon McGee's death and Mario Kaiser Jr.
Oh, just like that. I'm like, what? I said, you lying. He did not. That's what they trying to say.
And so these woods was like right by his apartments?
Right by his apartment, like 50 feet. That's what they trying to say. He walked. But the detective said he didn't even see him. Now all of a sudden you just seen him on the camera and stuff. That's what I'm trying to figure out. When you seen him on that camera, what did he have in his hand? Detective Moore won't even tell me that, you know?
Oh, okay. So yeah, he said he seen him on the apartment camera.
Yeah, he seen him on the apartment camera. I guess it's like a key pod or something you got to use to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he seen him on that leaving at 10:30 at night. The girlfriend said, how did he see him leaving at 10:30 at night? He in the house talking to me on the phone. You know? She screenshotted everything. I said, yeah, he's lying. That's why he know he didn't got caught up in the lie. That's why he went back and got that table from the crime scene, because it wasn't there.
In both cases, family members and the community have expressed doubt. Javon McGee had no known history of depression or self-harm. His relatives insisted he would never hang himself from a tree in the woods. They pointed out that he was just 21 years old and had only recently obtained his truck driver's license. They asked for an independent autopsy to verify the official findings. Similarly, Mario Kaiser Jr.'s family does not believe he took his own life either. They are concerned about the circumstances of his death, given that he was a large man, over 300 pounds, and it seems unrealistic that he could stand on a small stool and climb a tree to hang himself. Moreover, when officers arrived at the scene, the stool had already been removed. Now, that's another strange thing, which raised questions about possible tampering with evidence. When people look at these two cases side by side, a troubling pattern emerges. Both Javon McGee and Mario Kaiser Jr. were young black men from Chicago working as truck drivers in North Carolina. Both were found hanging from trees in wooded areas just hours apart, one in Nance County and the other one in Mecklenburg County. In Javon McGee's case, there was no sign of struggle, and no knot consistent with a lynching was found. In Mario Kaiser's case, local residents pointed out that there was no slip knots, and the ground around him appeared undisturbed. Friends and family of both men believe that law enforcement officials were too quick to rule their deaths suicides without investigating other possibilities. Beyond Javon McGee's and Mario Kaiser's cases, there are more stories of black truck drivers who were found dead under mysterious circumstances in wooded areas. For example, Bryan was found dead in a wooded part of a truck stop near a small town in North Carolina. Surveillance cameras should have captured everything, but no one reported seeing him. He had just graduated from truck driving school, and no one could explain why he was in that spot alone. His body was discovered days later by a landscaper who was mowing grass. Similarly, Jason Pearson, who worked for Prime Trucking, was found dead in a wooded area right across from the warehouse where he delivered goods. Prime Trucking simply returned the truck to their yard the day after he was reported missing and did not participate in any public search efforts. His body was only found when someone doing a routine maintenance stumbled upon it 2 weeks later. Another case is that of Tavon Blair, who was discovered hanging inside of his locked trailer. He was in a small town known for excluding black people after dark, often called Sundown Town. Despite being in a place surrounded by witnesses, no one claimed to have seen anything. His body remained in that trailer for several hours before anybody checked on him. In all these instances, law enforcement officials claimed that there was no sign of foul play and often ruled the deaths as suicides. Both families and friends argued that it makes no sense for a healthy, happy young man to drive to a remote area and hang himself. They wonder why so many black truck drivers end up dead in the same way in the same states. North Carolina has a history of sundown towns, places where black people were not allowed to be after dark. Although there is no exact count of these towns, studies estimate that there are over 2,200 locations with evidence of sundown policies. Many of these towns were in the Midwest, but North Carolina has its share, especially in rural areas and along back roads. Family members and community activists believe that some of these deaths happen in areas where black people still feel unsafe after dark. They argue that old practices of discrimination and violence may be contributing factors, even if local government claim that those days are over. Because of these cases, people are demanding more thorough investigations. In Javon McGee's case, his mother was not allowed to see his body in the apartment where he died. Law enforcement officials reportedly wiped his laptop and cell phone clean before his family can view them. No autopsy was performed at the time, which made it harder to confirm if any injuries were overlooked. In Mario Kaiser Jr.'s case, witnesses reported seeing suspicious activity near where his body was found. They said they saw a white pickup truck parked nearby for several hours, but police never mentioned it in public statements. Community organizations and civil rights groups are urging black truck drivers to take extra precautions. They advise drivers to stay on well-lit roads after dark and to avoid traveling through known sundown towns. Some have started buddy programs where drivers check in with one another regularly by phone or through tracking apps. Others have organized protests demanding transparency from trucking companies and law enforcement agencies. They want every death to be investigated thoroughly with independent observers present to ensure facts are not overlooked or covered up. Truck drivers are reminded to protect themselves by sharing their location and trusted contacts and by carrying self-defense tools like pepper spray or personal alarm. They are also encouraged to park in secure areas and to report any suspicious behavior to their dispatchers immediately. Families of the victims feel that these tragedies highlight a larger issue. When a black truck driver goes missing, local authorities often assume that it's a suicide or accident. Then the case is quickly closed and life goes on like nothing happened. For grieving parents, that feels like a second injustice. In the end, both Javon McGee and Mario Kaiser Jr.'s death underscore a painful reality. Young black men doing their jobs and trying to provide for their families are dying under similar circumstances in North Carolina.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.